Welcome to Demystifying the Metaphysical, here to help you find more compassion in your life. Today we're going to discuss the eyes, the window into our soul. We're going to start off by looking at the size of the eyes and what it means. There are two ways of looking at the size of the eyes. The first way we'll be looking at here is the size of the eyes in terms of the height and width compared to the rest of the face. The person on the left has large eyes. People with large eyes are emotionally open. They are both receptive and expressive. They're also charismatic, courageous, and trusting of others. They enjoy being in the limelight. People with small eyes, like what we see on the person on the right, are reserved, logical, and rational. They go more with their heads rather than their hearts, and may have a harder time expressing their feelings. They may also prefer to spend time alone or in small groups rather than large gatherings. The second way of looking at the size of the eyes is by looking at how they're held. Both of these people have relatively similar sized eyes, but the person on the left holds her eyes wide open, and the person on the right holds her eyes a bit closed, making them look narrow. People who hold their eyes wide open have similar traits to those with large eyes. They are extroverted, reveal their emotions easily, and also tend to be more easily impacted by other people's energy. People who hold their eyes more narrow, like what we see on the person on the right, are cautious, skeptical, analytical, and perceptive. They tend to be more conservative with their emotions. The slant of the eye is determined by comparing the corner of each side of the eye. If the inner corner is higher than the outer corner, like what we see on the person on the left, the eye is downward sloping, while upward sloping eyes have a lower inner corner and a higher outer corner. Keep in mind that the stronger the tilt, the more likely the following will be true. People with downward sloping eyes are sympathetic, kind, and even-tempered. They prefer to take a more cautious and deliberate approach to life. Some may also prefer to keep to themselves or could be a bit pessimistic. People with upward sloping eyes, like what we see on the person on the right, are extroverted, enthusiastic, ambitious, and energetic. They're generally optimistic and confident, and some may be a bit impatient. The set of our eyes tells us how we like to process information. The distance between the two eyes on average is about 1 eye length. When the space is less than 1 eye length, like what we see on the person on the left, this is a person that is considered to have close-set eyes. People with close-set eyes are detail-oriented, have an amazing ability to focus, and are very analytical. When the distance between the eyes is more than 1 eye length, the eyes are considered to be wide-set. People with wide-set eyes, like what we see on the person on the right, are big picture thinkers. They're innovative, objective, and adaptable. They're not interested in details and don't like to be constrained. Are your eyes set deep in the eye socket or do they protrude? The best way to tell is by closing your eyes and holding a stick vertically against your eye socket. If the stick is pushing up against your eye, then you have protruding eyes. If not, then your eyes are deeply set. Keep in mind that in face reading, just like in hand reading, we're looking for confirmations of the same characteristics on different parts of the face. The more frequent a personality trait shows up on the face, the more likely it'll be true. If you haven't already, check out my hand reading videos, link on the top right. People with protruding eyes, like what we see on the person on the left, notice how his eyes round outward. These people are extroverted, sociable, speak their mind, enjoy new experiences, and are quick to react. They're also able to easily connect with others because of their ability to empathize. People with deep-set eyes, like what we see on the person on the right, notice how her eyes look sunk into her eye socket. These people can come off as being mysterious because they're introverted, reserved, deep thinkers who don't readily share their feelings. These people are also realistic and like to think before they speak. Let's take a look at the white part of the eyes in relation to the iris and the eyelid. For those that don't know, the iris is the colored part of the eye. Usually, the iris is slightly covered by the top and bottom eyelids, like what we see on the person on the far right. When someone is looking straight at you and the white part of their eye shows up between the iris and the lower eyelid, like what we see on the person on the far left and in the middle, this is called three-sided white eyes. If the person has always had this feature, it could mean that the person thrives on challenges. But if it developed over time, the person may be feeling stressed or exhaustion. If the white part of the eye shows up between the iris and the top eyelid, this could be a sign that the person is determined, truthful, and perhaps a bit impatient. Now let's take a look at the shape of the eyes. The first two we'll look at is the round eye and the almond-shaped eyes. An eye is considered round if it is as high as it is wide, and both the upper and lower eyelids are rounded, like what we see on the person on the left. People with round eyes lead with their hearts. They are expressive, open-minded, kind, emotional, imaginative, social, and charming. An almond-shaped eye is wider than it is high. The eyelids are also curved, but not as curved as the round-shaped eye. People with almond-shaped eyes, like what we see on the person on the right, use both their hearts and their minds. They're cautious about revealing their deep feelings and use logic and reason to analyze situations. Let's take a look at the triangular and rectangular shaped eyes. The triangular eye can be seen when the upper eyelid is raised in the middle, like what we see on the person on the left. People with triangular eyes are able to make the most of opportunities. They are competitive, strategic, and have great business acumen. These people also make great politicians. The rectangular eye is wider than it is high, and the top eyelid droops in the middle, like what we see on the person on the right, making the top part of the eye look like a straight line. People with rectangular eyes are pragmatic, careful, persistent, logical, and can see through the facade of others. The more the iris is covered by the droop in the upper eyelid, the more likely the person will be private. The eyes are often said to be the windows into the soul, and in face reading, the spark of the eye tells us just that. It shows us a person's energy and vitality. Three different types of sparks we often see are the dreamy, warm, and bright eyes. The dreamy spark is what we see on the person on the far left. It almost looks like she's looking at something far away. People with a dreamy spark are highly imaginative, intuitive, and creative. They have a rich inner life. Moving to the person in the middle, she has a warm spark in her eye. Her eyes are soft, giving her a very friendly and approachable feel. People with warm spark eyes are nurturing, caring, and have a calming effect on others. Moving to the person on the far right, this is an example of someone with an intense or bright spark. Her stare is extremely focused and strong. People with this type of spark have a lot of energy, enthusiasm, and optimism. They're also confident, passionate, focused, and driven. They have a powerful presence. The inner corner of our eye shows us our communication style. People with pointed inner corners, like what we see on the person on the far left and in the middle, where the blue arrows are pointing, are people who are very accurate and to the point with their words. If and when they get angry, they should keep in mind that sometimes being too truthful can hurt others. People with rounded inner corners, like what we see on the person on the far right, are people who are careful with their words and are afraid of hurting other people's feelings. They tend to beat around the bush, and sometimes their message can get lost. People with straight bottom eyelids, like the person on the left, often put others before themselves. while people with straight top eyelids, like the person on the right, tend to mind their own business. Both of these people have curved upper and lower eyelids. Having a curved upper eyelid is a sign of a person who will remain young at heart, and a curved lower eyelid is a person who will stand up for what they believe in. The lines on the outer corners of the eyes are known as joy lines. They're also referred to as crow's feet. Having these lines is a sign of emotional expressiveness. They're usually found on people who are warm, friendly, and approachable. Let's take a look at asymmetry in the eyes. This person's right eye is slightly smaller than her left eye. A quick reminder from the face reading basics video that if you're right-handed, the right side of your face is what you show to the world, and the left side of your face is how you feel inside. Since her right eye is smaller, she portrays herself as cautious and analytical to others, but in reality, she's quite open-minded and emotionally receptive. If you've enjoyed the video, feel free to share, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.